Hey, no, the reality is that you're getting to look at me today, unfortunately, and not the gentleman behind the camera. He's way better looking, way more fit than me, but maybe we'll show a highlight reel with him. But we really appreciate Luke on our marketing team and all he does. And you know, today I want to talk specifically about different types of roof systems. So I geek out about roofing and all types of roofing products. You know, over 17 years as an actual business, meaning registered in the states in which we operate. We're a fully licensed general contractor here. I'm shooting this video today in one of our showrooms in Southwest Florida. We're a licensed Florida general contractor as well as a licensed roofing contractor. But we've completed projects literally almost coast to coast, as far as Spokane, Washington, all the way down into Phoenix, Arizona, all the way across into Allentown, Pennsylvania, and all the way down into the Florida Keys, and about everywhere in between. And depending on one of our many office locations may depend on the type of roofing product that's most prevalent. And so in some of our market locations, you see the traditional asphalt shingle as the most commonplace product you see. Here in Florida, we see a tremendous amount of tile in the various different styles, whether it's concrete or clay or specialty designing tile. But all the rage right now in Florida, and for good reason, because of the weather that we get here, is the various different types of metal roofing. And one of the things is that our goal as a roofing contractor is to educate you as the property owner, whether it's a residential property or it's a commercial property that you particularly manage or you're on the board for, is to give you your options and understand your unique needs. Every type of roof system, that I have here offers a different type of system as well as warranties and solutions. Some may fit your needs and some may not. And so we wanted to take a minute and just educate you on the various metal roofing products that are out there, and we'll give you our feedback on installing these nearly every day. So today we're going to talk about, first and foremost, is one of the traditional metal roofings. So this happens to be known as a standing seam panel. Now, when it's called a standing seam, there's two types. There's the nail flange panel and there's a clip system. So this nail flange disappears and it's structurally attached through a clip, and then the panels snap into each other. Now, this panel here is a mill finish, meaning it doesn't have a paint finish like this product does. The thing that you can see here on this standing seam panel is that it's got a plastic protective layer, and so as these panels are manufactured, it puts this film on top of the panel so that you don't scratch this panel when you're working it and using it as an example. So some of these things you see are just part of the plastic that's designed to protect the panel. Now, this is a painted panel and this is a non-painted panel. Both of these panels are considered standing seam and they happen to be a nail flange panel. Now, what makes standing seam, in this particular case, a unique product, this is a snap lock panel, and the panels are designed to snap into each other. So you take a rubber mallet and the panels snap into each other, and then they're fastened with the screws underneath the snap itself. Now, a couple reasons that people love this panel is that it gives you an affordable price into metal roofing. The other reason they like it is the look. We like to say here, right, wrong, or indifferent, that no roof system looks as sexy, in our opinion, as a standing seam metal roofing system. The uniqueness, the flatness of the panels, the high edges here that you see, and just the way that the panels look is really what we find that some of our clients they love, right? And that's why we call it the sexiness of roofing. And so inside of standing seam panels, there's a whole nother category that's called a mechanical seam panel. And what makes this panel different, number one, you can see the rib heights are significantly different than the snap lock panels themselves. The other thing is that these mechanically seamed panels are actually seamed using a robot. And the robot will actually crawl up the separation here where the panels lock into themselves, and it actually crimps the panel. And you can do a single lock crimp or you can do a double lock crimp. And so when you look at them from a price perspective of metal roofing, you have the traditional, let me find it here, in black brown, which is the 5B panel where you see the exposed fastener. And then you have the traditional standing seam in the nail flange and then the clip, and then you go into the mechanically seamed panel. Now, these products can carry wind warranties all the way up to 160 miles an hour or up to 180 mile an hour wind load on a mechanical seam panel. A couple things to point out here, outside of the look and the wind rating on these panels, is the fact that these panels do have some maintenance requirements with inside their warranty. So regardless of the manufacturer that actually makes the panels for your particular project, when you read that warranty, it's going to have a rinse requirement on it. And what that rinse requirement does is that it requires the owner, the property management, the CAM, whoever that actually is responsible for that roof to up to 2 times a year have a soft wash rinse done. And what that does is it'll take, in this case, the salt that can potentially bake onto the roof system. So as it rains or evaporation, it comes down on the roof and then the salt bakes on the panels. What it's doing with the soft wash rinse is it's actually getting the acidic nature off and it's extending the life of the coating that's on the panels. Most folks don't realize that when you buy a traditional metal roof system, if you don't have your soft wash rinse, rain doesn't count. It has to be done by a third party, and then you have to have the receipts. It actually makes your entire warranty null and void. The other thing about this panel is that all of these panels sit nearly direct to roof deck. So when the framers put in your roof deck, or your house is aged over time, what you begin to see on these panels is what's known as oil canning. That's why you see most folks will exclude any coverage from oil canning. What that is that's when the panel forms to the deck but begins to show almost pivots or divots inside them. It's known as oil canning. It's not a functional issue, it's more of an aesthetics, right? So there are things you can do by putting backer rods on the panel. You can go to a clip system, which allows the panel to more float freely versus a nail flange system. But overall, the metal roofing panels in traditional standing seam and mechanical seam are gonna sit direct to roof deck. With that, some of the feedback that we get from our property owners is, hey, it's a little noisier in the rain, and they're noticing a little bit higher utility usage in their home. Especially here in Florida, for example, we get some extreme heats. And when you have these metal panels sitting direct to your roof deck, there's a chance for excess thermal conductivity, which can make inside the home slightly hotter. Now, all of these are great options, right? They get a higher wind rating, they give you a beautiful form, fit, and look, and they're customized specifically to your unique installation. The other type of roof system is known as Worthouse. This is a metal roofing system, and unlike these particular systems we just talked about, it's installed with a specific exposed fastener. Now, one of the things I want to highlight very quickly that's different about Worthouse versus a traditional 5B is the difference in the size of the fasteners. These fasteners in particular are coated, and they come with a specialized washer on the back. Now, these fasteners are super important, and we're going to talk about them more in just a few minutes, and why Worthouse leads the roofing industry in what we call the highest wind rating that's out there. So this particular product is manufactured in Poland currently. The gentleman that invented this product and owns the patent and trademark to it is a Polish man, and this product in particular carries one of the largest market shares of roofing across all of Europe. And there's a couple reasons for it. Now, their national headquarters, or their North American headquarters, is based just outside of Augusta, and they've since brought the manufacturing facilities right here to the United States, and they're going to begin, we believe, sometime in late 26 or early 2027 installing these panels or manufacturing these panels right here in the United States. But what sets Worthouse apart from every other roof system, every other metal roof system, first and foremost, is the look. You can clearly see that the look of this panel is different than this mechanical seam panel here or the traditional standing seam panel here. Now, over here on the wall, you can see that they have a variety of panel styles, and you can see that there are very different styles and colors with any type of metal roofing. So this isn't the only style. But what we're finding that our clients love about the Worthouse product in particular is the wind warranty. This product carries a 200-mile-an-hour wind rated system. So if you live on the coast or near the coast and you're worried about high wind events, no other product that's out there today carries as high of a wind rating in metal roofing as the Worthouse system. The other thing that makes the Worthouse system different and unique from traditional metal roofing is that it's considered a ventilated roof system. Now, you might not be able to see it because of the gutter that's here, but there's these perforated eave brackets that allow the panels to sit up off of the roof. And what that does is that allows air to travel underneath the panels. And that helps actually reduce that thermal and air conductivity that's happening inside the cavity of these buildings, whether it's a residential property or a commercial property. And because of the design, Worthouse says that property owners that have this on their home can expect to see up to a 20% reduction in your heating and cooling bill inside your property. So you get an increased potential in heating and cooling bill or electrical usage with traditional metal that you don't get with a ventilated metal roof system. Now, one of the other things that's unique about Worthouse from these other panels is that it has a zero maintenance requirement. So when you look at traditional metal roofing, they're going to require a soft wash rinse inside your warranty. Make sure you're asking, hey, who's manufacturing these panels and who's actually carrying the warranty? Because you have the coil manufacturer, and then you have the company that owns the machines that produces these panels themselves. So you could get lost in who owns the warranty and what the exclusions are. Worthouse is a self-contained system, and there are no soft wash rinse or maintenance requirements with the Worthouse system. So if you had a traditional stone-coated steel, which is also a type of metal roofing product, you know, folks try to pressure wash these and it washes the granulations out and it might void the warranties. You no longer are pressure washing this, you're no longer having to soft wash rinse this at all. Now, the last point about this, or two last points, is this product carries a 2.5-inch impact rating. So if you put it on a golf course community or you're in an area that's prone to hail, this is guaranteed to be dent resistant for up to 2.5-inch size impact, which is a major deal. Most of the traditional metal roofing carries no impact or dent size resistant warranty at all. Last but most importantly, not to all property owners, but to many, is that this product in particular, Worthouse, carries no name storms exclusion. So when you read the warranties from the products, they're most always going to say, acts of God, name storm, voids the warranty. The owner of Worthouse said, I'm going to put a product on that I can stand behind for life. I'm going to rate it higher than anybody else. I'm going to help it reduce the energy value of the home or the energy usage of the home. I'm going to have it withstand the extreme weathers without maintenance requirements. And I want to make sure that if a storm comes through and the wind is less than 200 miles an hour, we're going to warranty this product. And so they have no named storm exclusion currently on the Worthouse product, on any product that they make. Now, all of these are great options. Every type of roof system you see here in this particular showroom, our showroom in Southwest Florida, is a fantastic product that fits a unique need. Now, we love metal roofing, and what we're finding is that a majority of our tile roofs are migrating towards a metal roof system. And the reason is because of the wind resistance that you can get, the longevity, and the look.
So one of the common questions we get when our clients are making decisions, whether it's a commercial property or a residential property, on what type of metal roof system they go to, they always talk about fasteners. And so in traditional standing seam or a snap lock panel, the fasteners that are used in a nail flange or in the clip to hold the clip down are hidden fasteners, which means they're covered by the next panel and there's no exposed fasteners. That's one of the things folks love to talk about with a traditional standing seam or mechanical seam panel. Now, that's a great application because you don't have any weather exposure of fasteners. The Worthouse system in particular does have exposed fasteners. So I can highlight here that this fastener is specifically made for the Worthouse panel. It's color coded to match the panel itself, and then it has a special rubber washer here that's designed to give it its weatherproof. Now, unlike a traditional 5V metal roof system that has a much smaller exposed fastener, this fastener is actually rated for the full term of 50 years. The manufacturer warranties it. So when you're comparing, folks like to talk about, hey, standing seam, mechanical seam, clip, nail flange systems have hidden fasteners where the detriment to Worthouse is the exposed fastener. We actually think it's the opposite. Because this fastener, unlike those fasteners for the 5V system, are specifically designed for this panel, and they carry a 50-year warranty from the manufacturer on it. You get the extra strength of adding extra fasteners, which gives you the wind uplift and the peace of mind of a true 50-year maintenance-free warranty. So this is one of the most common questions we get when choosing a roof system, the difference between mechanical and standing seam in the Worthouse system. Thanks again, and God bless. So the age-old question that everybody wants to know is, hey, as a roofing contractor and the owner of the company, what roofing system do you have on your home? And currently, my current home, I have a mechanical seam panel, right? And there's a long story behind this, but I'll get it short and sweet. I used to think that it was happy king, happy kingdom. And what I really realized, it was happy wife, happy life. The reality is that the Worthouse roofing system would have been a much better value for me because of the incentives that Worthouse had put in place for me to put it on our home. Not only from a value perspective in terms of what I cost to pay, it costs me significantly more to have a mechanically seamed panel on my house, is that this panel, in my opinion, as a licensed roofing contractor and a licensed general contractor, is far superior to traditional metal roofing. Again, I love all of them, but what it ultimately settled it for us was the look. My wife wanted the quality, consistent, classic metal roofing look versus the manufactured panels in the different styles you see here. Even though this panel carries 200 mile an hour rated, it's a ventilated roof system, it requires no maintenance requirements, and it has no name storm exclusion. My wife still was like, hey, at the end of the day, I want a standing seam roof. And so I opted for a mechanical seam. Now, I will tell you that mechanical seams are not common on residential applications. These are traditionally found on commercial roofing systems and are really designed for commercial applications. I went this route and was willing to pay the extra expense because I wanted the mechanical locks of the panel. I didn't want the snap to potentially separate, and I wanted the higher wind uplift. And so by going to the mechanical panel, I priced myself higher than a Worthouse system, but I was only able to achieve about 180 mile an hour wind rating. So me, as the owner of Ridge Valley Exteriors and a licensed roofing contractor, I have a mechanical seam roof on my home. And we love the look, we love the sound. However, if I wasn't married, I would certainly have a Worthouse roof system on my home because of the superiority of the product. Again, all of these roof systems are fantastic. It's really defined by what are you looking for in your roofing goals, what is your budget, and what's your ultimate end goal. When you know those things, we can design and cater the system, and all of them are great systems, but only one of them fits your unique roofing needs. Thanks again, and God bless.